I think the one thing, if we go back to the actual basics here of the TAP protocol, is the fact that Bitcoin DeFi can be done in many, many ways. And as much as we're still seeing, even in the last 6 months, many more L2s, many more roll-ups, any more scaling solutions that don't allow you to retain custody, the primary fundamental thing about TAP that sets us apart is the fact that you're keeping full custody while still retaining full Bitcoin programmability with Turing smart contracts, right? So just like you would get on any other chain, but with native Bitcoin assets. So it's been building more and more ways to come into the ecosystem so that toolkit can be actually used. So to answer the question in a short way, it's making more bridges. So now we have the Ethereum bridge and the Tron bridge, so you can bring assets in, and we have increasing partnerships with L1. So we have ICP. When we last spoke in Amsterdam, that was the only one that we had. But now we're working on ones with Tron and Cardano, and then after that we go to things like Solana and Ethereum ultimately. So it's more ways to come into the ecosystem because the toolkit is the same. The toolkit is still allowing you to do full AMMs on Bitcoin, smart contracts with DEXs, all that stuff. So it's now more building infrastructure to get people to come in because the engine was created quite a while ago when we last spoke. Yeah, so in terms of like the things that we would need to conquer next, it's more and more attention. It's actually getting the name even further into the ecosystem, but not just into Bitcoin. It's actually more broad than that. So okay, we have a crypto czar, we have a crypto president, we have Elon Musk. We're completely crypto pro in the US, and that will go everywhere else. But in terms of like the other ecosystems, the hurdle is now to say, okay, well that's Bitcoin. We can provide the best infrastructure, and we can provide the most decentralized way to utilize native assets, earn yield. Like we have all of those, but we need to get outside the Bitcoin ecosystem. And so this is why I always go back to the L1 co-processing thing. So not on a technical perspective, but just on an attention perspective. All of these other chains, if you use Cardano as one example, Cardano, Charles Hoskinson said, what, 3 months ago? We're not an L1, we're a Bitcoin L2, right? That speaks to the fact that you have all of these people that are coming into the ecosystem. All these L1s, all these builders, all these founders, all these protocols, they all want to be able to unlock the 2 trillion today, probably in 12 months' time, 3 trillion, 4 trillion, right? Who knows? So the actual main thing is how do we make sure that they land in the TAP protocol ecosystem and not get sidetracked by a more centralized L2 where you're not even having custody of your assets. So that's the main hurdle, is making sure that we become the primary place to onboard all of these things. And that's why the L1 co-processing is what sets us apart, because nobody else has that. So the L1 obsolete thing is actually interesting because the quantum compute obviously hacks all of the private keys, but there actually is something now, I believe it's called lattice cryptography. So essentially, you can, all the users who are active in the ecosystem, all the Bitcoin holders, right, you can actually avoid that. I'm not the dev, but you can actually simply upgrade your wallet to avoid that kind of thing. However, what's interesting about that is, if Satoshi actually isn't dead, then we're going to find out. Because if he is dead, that wallet won't be able to have its Bitcoin either moved somewhere else or the wallet upgraded. So his Bitcoin might come on the market because when quantum inevitably does that, any wallet that is a dead, quiet, dormant wallet, its Bitcoin will be taken. Which I think is quite an interesting point. We actually launched something called the TAP Launch Bot. And so because we have account abstraction within the protocol, and we've achieved that on Bitcoin for layer 1 assets, you could actually download the TAP Launch Bot, launch and fund a project directly from Telegram. Now, that sounds kind of cool now, but we, of course, as you're saying, we're thinking a year, 5 years, 10 years. That serves as almost the connective tissue to AI agents. And to speak to that point, on TAP protocol right now, we have a project called Big Noodle that is building and I won't go too technical, but a decentralized GPU deep-in network with AI swarms as assets. And this is not a single chain thing. Back to the earlier point, how do we get people in? Because of the level of programmability for this and the demand to come into Bitcoin, these assets can be a Bitcoin asset, an Ethereum asset, and a Sol asset. And so the AI agent training and selling and monetizing these as products is already something that's being built currently on the protocol, which again just speaks to the programmability that we have.